Recently, we worked on a video essay on superstar Mohanlal while revisiting few of his films. If you haven't watched it yet, please do so. And if you have watched it, you must remember that we did not mention Thoovanathumbikal in that video. And yet, it is this film which we revisited first, looking back at the greatness of Mohanlal and his filmography. It is that kind of a film. It is that kind of a feeling that pulls you in, given any excuse. Whether listing Malayalam classics, dissecting gender dynamics, or be it an off-season rain that takes you back to Thoovanathumbikal. It is a film that has become a part of Malayali lore, much like its prolific maker, one of the formative figures of the present-day fervour of Malayalam cinema. And yet, it is also a film significantly misunderstood by sections of the audience for its way ahead of its time's conviction. Alluring but ambiguous characters, and an introspective, almost meditative ending that leaves much room for varied interpretations. For us, what stands out in the film, even ahead of the fairy tale romance, is how Padmarajan takes down his chauvinist protagonist Jayakrishnan without a sledgehammer, perhaps even without the man himself realizing it, much like those in the audience who do not get down to the nuances of Thoovanathumbikal. The two women, who come in his life almost around the same time, react to his alpha male ego in separate ways. They do not confront as in regular films, but love him instead, and in unique ways bear open his self-deceptions to hopefully change him in the long run. Before I move on to the rest of the video essay, here's requesting you to like and subscribe this video and leave a comment. Now, back to the essay. That Jayakrishnan is an alpha male in Thoovanathumbikal might not be a revelation. Look at how a film considered to be one of the all-time greats of Indian romance begins, with its protagonist fighting over coconuts with a trader and rampaging to hit a tenant who taunted his father. We are made witness to his perversions as he talks to his friend Rishi. That leads us to the famous lemonade sequence in the bar after we have watched Jayakrishnan involved in a couple of more banters. Padmarajan also does something very interesting within these sequences. He introduces us to this little girl from Jayakrishnan's Manarathodi family who watches him fight from a distance and later brings a light from the worship altar to him that the crude man almost ignores. In hindsight, think of how Radha would succeed this little girl in her actions, first repulsed and then awed by the man trying to bring light in his life. As we keep on saying, nothing in a Padmarajan film is just for the sake of it. In a masterstroke, Padmarajan also positions Ashokan as Rishi to be a stand-in for us, the audience, timid and underconfident souls amazed at the confidence and charisma of Jayakrishnan. The unique selling point of all alpha male celebrations, the amazement of the beta male at the superficial confidence of the alpha. From intense warmth to great cruelty, from silences to super theatricality, Mohanlal's Jayakrishnan is a fitting predecessor to Ranbir Kapoor's Ranvijay Singh. And it is the freedom of a man to do anything at any price that the otherwise underconfident human population gets stuck with, much like Rishi in this film. It is also the contrast and dichotomies of these alpha males which seems alluring at a distance view but hardly appeal when engaged at proximity. Think about Jayakrishnan's idea of chastity, his idea of self-celibacy and vow to marry the girl who loses virginity to him. The ideas of winning and losing that keep the alpha males going. And when that is at stake, the honor of a woman is no more a priority, which that vow superficially suggests. Like Jayakrishnan, upon being rejected by Radha in her college in front of her friends, suddenly indicates that Radha is not in a right frame of mind due to some piles or hemorrhoid. It is always about self in an alpha male that also brings upon the vague sense of honesty. Like Ranvijay announces his relation with Zoya to his wife, Jayakrishnan is open about Radha to Clara and vice versa. Apparently, this might be celebrated as an act of integrity at the cost of losing someone you love, but a closer look reveals how this is all about the self again. Not to be in a position of emotional inferiority in front of your partner, or not to love enough that overrides self-respect. Well, you feel relieved having spoken the truth, but that is also about passing the burden of the truth to someone you profess love. While Sandeep Reddy Vanga celebrates these attributes of an alpha male, Master Padmarajan beats the alpha male at his own game by positioning the two female leads in this movie who quash Jayakrishnan in honesty, integrity, and love. Clara is an enigma. It rains every time she is mentioned or appears. The woman you cannot reach. The one that you have to let go. It is beautiful how she never feels the need to explain why she chose to be a sex worker, and she enjoys post-carnal conversations more than the sex. When Jayakrishnan proposes marriage to her at the beach, not because he has fallen for her, But because of his egoistic vow of protecting a woman's chastity, Clara is rather shocked than happy. It's a split-second expression, but carefully look at this scene to realize why Clara leaves by the morning. At an early age, this departure might have felt sad and rude, but with time you would realize that it's exactly what was expected. What else would a free spirit do? That was a sense of honesty without hurting the egoist man directly, retaining the mystery of their relationship and giving him time to realize what might have gone wrong, something that always works better than a face-off in real life. Consider how Clara disrobes Jayakrishnan of all his machoism. He does not need to win her, that he enjoys doing. She does not rebuke him, even though his proposal puts her off to lead him to a banter. Also, she does not stop loving him to help him find shelter in victimhood for the rest of his life. Instead, she treats him as a student needing mentoring in life and love, much like the rain which washes us of taints and cools us down. We see her idea of integrity when she hesitates to meet Thangal, who she feels to have betrayed when she ran away from her promise to work with. And take that as a punch to the victimhood we are used to seeing for sex worker characters in Indian cinema, where the lady feels to have cheated her pimp for not keeping her promise. There's a strange expression in Jayakrishnan's face when Clara mentions this to him, and then the camera takes us to the waves in the sea, as the man perhaps for the first time realizes that he is unworthy of Clara's serenity. You see a change in Jayakrishnan's countenance from there on, able to converse more than his wish to conquer, able to let go someone he has now fallen for, and able to make promises in love even if he is unsure of keeping them. The next time Clara calls him, it doesn't rain at his end anymore, though it's still raining near Clara. The equations had changed by then. Radha, the other female protagonist in the film, is perhaps the most debatable character. Apparently she is awed by the bad boy image of Jayakrishnan, like we watch in so many movies, but perhaps there's more layers to it. Radha is not enigmatic like Clara, but she is also someone who would accept Jayakrishnan only on her own terms. Obviously the man's gender and upper caste superiority repulses her initially, and then comes the episode at the college. But when her brother comes to warn her about Jayakrishnan, some primitive force kicks in as she gets attracted to this man. She perhaps feels more like a discoverer who can excavate out the beta traits of the alpha male. When she gets a chance to marry Jayakrishnan and thus disallow him from meeting Clara, she neither takes up the opportunity nor does she suddenly feel good about Jayakrishnan's idea of promises and meeting Clara. She is just a simple woman, looking up to the man she loves and wanting to understand whether he can break for her. And eventually, as the climax turns up and Jayakrishnan is back to meet Clara at the station, Radha does not sit back at home, waiting to find what her fate has at stake. She herself walks up to the station to face her future and looks at Jayakrishnan and Clara from a distance. Jayakrishnan realizes that Clara is now married. In fact, she is married the very next week they parted for the last time, not to a bachelor or a playboy like he had anticipated, but to a widower who is also aware of Jayakrishnan's presence in her life, a man who is at ease to watch his wife waving at another man who also has a unique place in her heart. We believe that the alpha male is much changed into a man who can care beyond superficial vows, who can break himself in love, and who can accept being rejected and cherish the feeling of being accepted by a woman. And as Jayakrishnan stands in Ottapalam station platform, becoming just another face in the crowd, as Radha looks at him from a distance and Clara returns his wave, they are both looking at a different man. A supposedly rugged man, stripped of the defenses that used to hide his vulnerabilities. A man whom the simple yet strong Radha can accept. A man cleansed by the rain. Please like and subscribe to the channel as we need your support to continue growing. That is all from us today. Thank you for watching.